Hey there, welcome to another episode of Brand Mavericks, the podcast that ignites your entrepreneurial spirit and guides you on the path to building your own franchise empire. I'm Neal DiPentino, president of Titan MediaWorks and your host for today's show. Joining us today is Kelli Schroeder. She is the vice president of franchise development for WellBiz Brands. WellBiz Brands is a category leader in experience-based businesses boasting 5 distinct franchise brands. And we're going to find out about those brands and a whole lot more. So please welcome to the show, Kelli Schroeder. Kelli, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, Neal. Excited to chat with you today.
Absolutely. We're really super excited to have you. You've got a lot of experience. We've been talking a little bit offline about your past and some of the things that you're doing right now, especially with the brands. And we really want to find out more about that. But before we jump into the business part of it, we always like to find out a little bit about our guests. So Kelli, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, please.
Absolutely. So Kelli Schroeder, I am calling in this morning from Long Island, New York, so based right outside of Manhattan. I have been working in franchising for over 15 years. And, you joke that, do you stumble into franchising? I absolutely did. And so grateful for it. So started, my career at Chili's Grill and Bar, overseeing the international franchise development there. And then have the opportunity to work for brands like Wingstop International and also a non-brick and mortar co-working concept. And here now working in beauty and wellness. So really passionate about the model. I am a mother of a 2-year-old little girl and a rescue pup. And my husband and I, we live in New York. And what else? Yeah, we're really exciting time to be a part of WellBiz. The personal care services and health and wellness industry is growing about 8% year over year. It's actually the first year that it has superseded that of the growth of QSR food restaurants in the United States. So it's a very exciting time to be a part of this category and looking forward to dive into more of the details with you.
Well, fantastic. So now you have 5 different brands. You want to, what are those brands? You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So at WellBiz Brands, we've got 5 brands in our portfolio. So Fitness Together, which is a personal training concept. We are actually not growing that actively right now, but got about 100 locations. And then we have Amazing Lash Studio, which is eyelash extensions. We created the category and we are the leaders. We have over 275 locations and over 100 under development. Then we have Dry Bar, which is no cuts, no colors, just blowout. So women to go in and get their hair blow dried. And then we've got Radiant Waxing, so hair removal, waxing, and then Elements Massage, so holistic massage therapy. And we've got over 250 units there, close to 200 for a Dry Bar. So a portfolio and a footprint of close to 900 locations across the United States. And we also have an international presence for Dry Bar in the UK, and then we'll be launching in the Middle East later this year.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I was just sitting here thinking as you're talking about all these different brands. I mean, each one of them seems to complement the other. And if they were all in the same center, it's like you would never have to leave. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. In the perfect world, we've got the same, each concept right next to each other in a strip center. So, our customer, she's going to a gym, she's picking up the groceries, and then she's going to pop in to get a wax or her hair blown out, et cetera. So our customers look alike. And what's great is that all of our brands deliver a one-to-one service model. So we're able to lean into operational efficiencies and target the same lookalike customer because that customer is looking to spend on beauty and wellness and they have that discretionary income to do so.
Oh, so part of what you do is help your franchisees grow their businesses, and but it takes a certain kind of person to really own and operate a franchise. So give me an idea of who the perfect franchisee would be for one of your brands.
Absolutely, we are looking for that mayor in their local community that's very involved, very active, wants to give back, sees the value of job creation through franchise ownership, and is a good people leader. With WellBiz, our service, we're offering a service, right? So we're not selling or flipping burgers. We sell memberships, and this membership model is recurring revenue, which is very attractive. However, it really requires that owner to lean into membership sales, building and fostering the lifetime value of the customer, and also retaining a great team member and staff, so that you've got people that stay with you that are loyal. So you have to be a great people leader and also really passionate about marketing and really getting out there in your local community.
So a lot of this marketing that the franchisees would do would be more localized, maybe some guerrilla marketing type techniques, just really that hands-on type thing. But your company provides the back end marketing to help. I mean, not everybody's a salesperson. So what do you guys do to help people market their businesses and get sales?
That's a great question, especially with a recurring revenue model such as memberships. We actually have a whole new store opening marketing playbook where our franchisees are going to be pre-selling memberships and signing up folks before they even open their doors on day one. And it's a win-win for the customer, the brand, and us as the franchisor. One, because you're going to have customers that are able to sign up and get appointments, and you have staff, whether that's massage therapists or waxologists, that are trained up and ready to provide that service to the customer. You know, if you don't have the members on day one when you open your doors, you're not going to be able to retain your staff. And then conversely, if you have not staffed up properly, you're not going to be able to service the customer. And you truly have one shot to have a good experience with the customer, for them to come back and then to want to convert to become a member. So we really focus on how can you fuel top line revenue. So on day one that you open your doors, you are charging the credit cards of all those folks that have signed up for that pre-opening membership to get them in the door. So that's a big focus that we have. We also have direct digitally managed marketing campaigns that our franchisees can opt into and be handled by us. And then we've got a national marketing strategy. And then we ask our franchisees to spend at least 2% of gross revenue on local marketing efforts of their choosing.
Okay, so you offer a lot of training, a lot of background, or a lot of back end support. So obviously, not everybody's a good salesperson. So, do you offer any type of training in terms of how to sell the program? I mean, you said you have the playbook. Does that include how to sell? And maybe doing some role playing, that type of thing, to help them to actually succeed in the sales part of it?
Absolutely, we are detailed down to a script for calling and how you tackle those calls when you're selling memberships, and what is the value add, and how you can pitch to potential customers to influence them and get them to see the value proposition to buy into a membership. So we have a whole training that is tailored to pushing new membership sales for our franchisee.
Okay. So a person doesn't necessarily have to be a hotshot salesperson in order to be able to run a business like that. It sounds to me like they really need maybe strong leadership skills and just the ability to go out into the marketplace and have conversations with people. That,
and I think also just really knowing what the product offering is, knowing that inside and out and the value of that. And there also has to be passion behind it. If folks are not passionate about wellness or beauty, this is not going to be the industry for you, because this is so people driven. And so you've got to be really bought into the passion and the impact that you're making. We're not saving lives, but we're also, creating experiences so women can wake up every day and feel beautiful and confident and go on to tackle their day. Same for, men that go and get, treatments at, Elements Massage, or getting waxing done at Radiant. We offer a service where people can feel better and confident and really ready to level up their day.
Absolutely. And I would imagine with just the nature of that business, there's a lot of referral or word of mouth type advertising, I guess, for lack of a better term, that it takes place. Because if I like the service that I'm getting at one of your places, then I'm going to tell my friends about it and they're going to try it as well.
Absolutely. And we also have programs in place and incentives to reward customers when they come into our doors when they do refer.
Okay, fantastic. So as far as like getting started, site selection, that type of thing, how involved are you all in that?
We're very hands-on. We have a robust site selection process. We've got a dedicated real estate department as well as a construction and design department. And so when a candidate signs on with us to become a franchisee, within 48 hours, they have a kickoff call with our real estate team to go through the process. This is what you can expect. These are the milestones, and this is how we're going to be spending our time together. And here are the key expectations, right? Expectation setting is everything. And then from there, working with a local broker and looking at sites. And then that site actually needs to go through an approval process with our executive real estate committee. And once that's approved, then it gets handed over to the construction and design. So we've got our specific architects that make sure that the site is going to be able to be viable. And then the build out process commences. So every step of the way, franchisee will have a point of contact and really be hand holding with our franchise support team to make sure that they're set up for success and their build out and opening of their location.
As far as locations are concerned, what kind of demographics are you looking at?
Yeah, so we look at, for all of our brands, household income of at least 75,000 or over 100,000. We want to see that it's affluent female customers, so that there's a lot of women within the direct trade area that are going to be using our services. We don't want to be a destination. We want to be in and around retail nodes where she's already picking up her dry cleaning and getting her nails done and picking up dinner at Whole Foods and then taking a Pure Barre class and then coming to us, right, for a service. So we want to be really strategic about where we show up and to make sure that we're capturing that customer.
Absolutely. So, and one thing that you did say that I wanted to point out that you talked about the passion, and I think that anytime that you get into a business of any type, if you don't have the passion, it's going to be a lot harder to succeed. I mean, you probably can, but I mean, passion really plays a big role in the success of any kind of business.
Absolutely. And I think if there's not passion, there's not sustainability. I think, as an investor, if you're a sophisticated investor or you're a passion buyer, you've got to have a balance of both, right? And it can't just be passion only. You've got to have the business acumen. And if you don't, hire for the strengths that you don't have. And conversely, we talk to a lot of investors because they say, hey, this industry is really interesting. The multiples can be really interesting when you exit. And that's great. But we also want to make sure they're really bought into the vision and why we exist, as opposed to just looking at our brands as a financial return that can meet, their portfolio expectations. So there has to be both there.
Right. Now, would you advise against, potentially being an absentee owner, or is that you have packages that would be fitting for that type of investor?
Great question. So we don't do absentee ownership. So every franchisee that comes into our system, we require them for the first location, shop or studio, that they live an hour and a half or less from the location and that they're in the shop at least 4 days a week. Why we do this is that we want them to really get into the business, be engaged, know what are the levers that really fuel the business. And then after 6 months or so, they can lift out of that and have that strong manager run the day-to-day operations. But that time frame is going to depend based on what markets it's in, how has the ramp up been with sales. But we really like to level set with potential buyers and let them know this is not a passive investment. And if you really can't commit to physically be in the four walls of your business for the first 6 months, again, we're not a fit for what you're looking for.
Okay. So generally speaking, where do most of your franchisees come from? Are they people who are been in the corporate world, retiring? Are they people just looking to start ground up to build a business? Maybe people who had a similar business, but see that franchising is a better direction for them?
Great question. Neal, I'm seeing a lot of folks that are corporate America refugees that have left and are looking to go into business for themselves, but not by themselves. And we know that is kind of like the most popular phrase of how you would sum up franchising. And they see the value of it because the franchise model gives us the guardrails and the brand equity and the brand value. So I'm seeing a lot of folks coming out from corporate wanting to own their own locations. Also, individuals that are kind of in the baby boomer generation and they want to retire from their corporate job, but then still have a lot of runway to go when it comes to their career and they want to start something new. We see mother-daughter teams, husband-wife teams. And we also see more sophisticated investors that are portfolio companies and they have other brands and they want to diversify into wellness and beauty. So we actually just landed a really big deal last week with a massive Fortune 50 top restaurant operator in the United States that's been in food, and now looking to transition into wellness and beauty with our Elements massage brand. So we kind of see all flavors and all across the board.
Well, fantastic. Now, you mentioned that somebody who wants maybe coming from the corporate world, they want to start their own business, but don't want to do it on their own. Then that's one reason why a person would look at a franchise opportunity versus trying to do the startup on their own. Can you give us, in general, maybe some other reasons why a person would want to use a franchise or invest in a franchise as opposed to starting from the ground up?
Yeah, a big thing that potential candidates or those that are looking to get into business for themselves, a big thing that they underestimate is the ability to access capital from third-party lenders. So if I am to open up a Kelli's ice cream shop and I go to the bank and I'm asking for $500,000 versus me going in and saying, hey, I want to open with Froyo or Cold Stone that has a national and international footprint and major resources behind the brand from the franchisor, my ability to get access to capital is going to be far greater going with a franchise model. Why? Because it's proven and it's tested. And so it's going to de-risk their investment in me and lending to me. It's going to de-risk, my chance to potentially default on the loan, because if I follow a playbook versus me just trying to figure it out on my own, I'll be able to borrow a lot more capital if I go the franchising route.
I've never heard anybody say that before, and that's really interesting, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're investing in a proven brand, something that's already, doing well in other markets, then, and they do have a proven concept, then that makes a lot of sense that the banks would really be more prone to, investing in that person in that particular franchise.
Yeah. So it's that would be one thing. Another thing that I love, folks to think about is, there is this huge resale market out there. So secondary assets or resales. So locations that are already open, but they're up for sale, and they could be up for sale for a couple of reasons. They may be distressed. They may have, done their whole 20-year franchise agreement and they truly want to retire. And they want to sell and exit for a multiple, or maybe the asset's breaking even, but they just realize, hey, this isn't the industry I want to be in. And where the cost of capital is right now, resales are very attractive because you're buying into an already existing business with an existing customer base, not having to finance, build out costs at an 8 or 11% interest rate. And it really allows those that are looking to get into the franchising space to invest and to ramp up quickly, even if it's a distressed asset and it's going to require a big cash infusion to turn it around. It's still, in some cases, much more attractive than doing a new dirt or new build.
So if I had one of your franchises and I was looking to sell for whatever reason, is that something that you support your franchisees with and helping them to sell their businesses at some point?
Yes. One thing I love about WellBiz is that we have made the capital investment in our infrastructure to have a whole dedicated resales department on my team. So I've got someone that's been in the industry. She's a veteran. At any given time, we're looking at, 60 to 70 locations that are up for sale, across those asset classes I discussed. And it's at no cost to the franchisee. So the franchisee, will need to pay a transfer fee. And if we find a lead through broker networks, they need to pay for that. But other than that, it's a free service to them because that's the value that we deliver and we bring to them. And it's, we have a vested interest because we want locations and studios to stay open. We don't want them to close. But we understand sometimes existing owners want to find a way to exit, and that can be done through a resale program.
I love that. I'm thinking as you're talking is that part of the vetting process. I mean, obviously, you're vetting the potential franchisee to make sure that they're going to be a fit because you got to protect everybody else down the line. So if you're actually helping them to sell that business, you're kind of taking that part of the process out of their hands. Because you're already vetting them as you're selling.
Yeah, bingo. You hit the nail on the head. So you can't look at them independently. They are all woven together and overlap, right? So while us as the franchisor, we obviously, once we make the introduction from the buyer, to the seller, we step away because we can't be perceived as impeding on the sale or getting involved in that. But we are able to bring the marketplace together, and in a way that we are pre-vetting these candidates and making sure that they meet our brand standards, our financial requirements, so that when we're welcoming new folks into the system, they are still being held to that high standard as a new franchise partner coming in to build new locations would be.
That's amazing. So I really appreciate that, what you were saying. I think that'd be awesome. And that would, for me personally, if I were investing in a franchise, that would be a big determining factor for me. I would say that would be one, because obviously at some point in time, whether you're looking at a legacy business or if you're looking at just an investment that you would like to sell off at some point in time for a profit, whatever the reason might be, at some point in time, you're going to get out of that business, and to have that kind of support to me is amazing. So congratulations on that. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're getting very close to the end of our time together. Unfortunately, the time flies when you're having fun, right? Any final thoughts you'd like to leave our audience with?
This could not be a more exciting time for franchising, and, just the growth that we're seeing. I mean, it's created so many jobs, so much GDP for our country. And I think if you haven't considered franchising, I would really encourage you to take a second look, because the benefits far outnumber the risks. And there's so many different verticals that you can grow in franchising, whether it's home-based businesses, disaster relief, beauty, your typical brick and mortar. There's something for everyone. And I'm a true believer in the model. And when it's been put in place the right way, and when it's done responsibly, everyone wins. And the most successful of all those winners is the individual business owner.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for that. Kelli, if our audience would like to get in contact with you to find out more about your brands and how they could potentially invest in franchising with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so they can visit WellBiz Brands online. I'm also on LinkedIn, and you can book a meeting on my calendar directly there, Kelli Schroeder. I'd love to chat.
Well, fantastic. Well, thanks very much for being on our show today. I really appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
100%. Hey, folks, that's our show for today. So thrilled you could be with us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. Brand Mavericks is sponsored by Titan Media Works, providing podcast production for those who are or want to be in the podcasting space. Please check us out at titanmediaworks.com. That's work spelled WORX. And check out all the other great hosts at the Small Business Delivered Network at smallbusinessdelivered.com. Hey, be sure to stay tuned for more Brand Mavericks coming your way soon. Until then, just keep on building your brand. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye-bye.